It's Debatable with Mark Gray here on MLBBro.com.
We continue with Debatable, trying to figure out how to make baseball cool again for black folks, along with 1984 world champion outfielder from the Detroit Tigers, Rod Allen, and the voice of MLBBro.com. Say it for me now. Say it, Telly. Baseball.
Baseball.
See, that's what we love about you, dog. Oh, man. Love those pipes. Who should, baseball does need a cool factor. You need a face of the cool, much like the NBA did in the 80s and the 90s. You had Magic, Michael, Larry. They passed the baton to Jordan, who gave it to Kobe, and now ultimately LeBron. Who can be that face? Does baseball need that face? And if so, is it Tim Anderson's time? Is it Mookie Betts? I mean, Mookie Betts would seem to be the guy right there. I'd hang my hat on, fellas. I'll throw that out for a quick pitch. Who's going to swing first?
I'll go. You threw two of the names out there that I would think of. I mean, when you start talking about, African-American players in the game, obviously Mookie Betts does it with his style and his flair and his smile and his style playing in Hollywood, on the brightest stage and winning an MVP. He's a bona fide superstar. And then you've got Tim Anderson, who gets it done in a different way. He's a little bit more vocal. He's a little bit more brash. He's a little bit more cocky, swagger, whatever you want to call it. I mean, what these young boys have these days, but baseball needs more of these guys. And as Telly said, we need to figure out a way to get these guys on commercials and get them out there doing some different things, just so people can see them and relate to them a little bit more from a different standpoint, not even baseball, but just see them in everyday life.
And Rod, I mean, the two guys that you're talking about, look at the markets they're in, LA and Chicago. So they have every opportunity to boost these guys and put them on that platform. The problem is the playing field is never equal for African-American players versus white players, and no matter what the abilities are, because I mean, regardless, you're going to, when you think of the Dodgers, you think of Clayton Kershaw. When you think of the White Sox, Tim Anderson's not the first guy you think of. You think of Jose Abreu. You think of, Tony La Russa coming back after a long hiatus. So I think that, even when there were a lot of black players, I mean, I started broadcasting with the Milwaukee Brewers in 2010, and they by far had the most black players on one team in any major league team. You had Mike Cameron, Bill Hall, Ricky Weeks, Prince Fielder, LaTroy Hawkins, like the list goes on and on and on. But the thing is, when you thought of the Milwaukee Brewers at that time, you thought Ryan Braun,
yes.
Yeah. So it's a point. I mean, I think baseball and these specific organizations have to be intentional about doing this, and because the numbers aren't just going to make people watch, because we know how good Mookie Betts is. We know how good Tim Anderson is. I mean, you're talking about guys that have won batting titles and MVPs, and they still can't get the love on the mainstream platform. So I think there just has to be a way where baseball is intentional about this, and MLBBro.com is I think just a start and scratching the surface and bringing the attention to black and brown players in Major League Baseball. But Major League Baseball, once again, key word, intentional. They have to be intentional in pushing these African-American stars.
Yeah, just like that intentional walk thing. So let's have some fun with this thing. I'll throw out this as a pitch. Do we need a hip hop playlist for all walk-up tunes right now? Let's be clear for a second. Hip hop is more than just a beat. It's a culture, from the braided hair, in the 70s and the 80s and early 90s. It was the big afro that was hanging out, Sarge, Gary Matthews. You remember, Rod?
Yeah. All of them cats.
Those guys
Gary
had
Maddox,
big hair. Yeah.
Lyman Bostock, all of them.
The best ever, Oscar Gamble. I mean, come on. Now, granted, he had a lot of different hats that he wore.
Hey, but I will say this. I mean, because I've been in major league stadiums and I've been on the road in lots of different stadiums. I've been in Detroit, New York, all over the league, and Telly has too. You might have 13, 14 players on the squad. These were position players. I guarantee you, white, black, indifferent, at least 10 of them are coming to the ditch with some kind of beat, some kind of hip hop.
Yep.
I mean, they already got the music banging. You know, I mean, it don't even matter what color you are. They know what good sounds like. They want that feeling. They know how to find that feeling.
Hey, true story, Rod. You know, and you were in American League Central for a long time. Joe Mauer came out to the same T.I. song his whole career. What you know about that? So you're right. And little that people know, Joe Mauer, and I know this because I used to cover the Twins, he used to DJ in his spare time. So and they use his playlist all the time. So it's like, I mean, you know, to have that hip hop and stuff and to have like black relievers run through the outfield and have Lil Wayne, I mean, yeah, it's great, but it's only for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. But in the clubhouse too, after the game, before the game, that's the kind of music that's popping in the clubhouse too. They got some kind of beat going on in there. Every now and then, that starting pitcher, he might be a cat that likes, you know, country western music. He might have his music on for 30 minutes while he's getting ready for the game. But other than that, I mean, they got beats in the clubhouse too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then let's remix the 7th inning stretch. I mean, it's all wonderful that you get to hear "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" and "Sweet Caroline," but who remembers those tunes beyond Gen X? I mean, well, what have we brought to the 7th inning stretch and make that a party? How about
you got to go to Boston to hear "Sweet Caroline," man. They make it sound awfully nice.
They do. But then again, we're middle-aged. I'm trying to think of those who coming out from behind us. So tell me, what could we do? Could we make Jay-Z the ambassador for cool and have him come up with a universal hip-hop oriented 7th inning stretch that brings the fans back?
You know, I know where you're going with this, Mark, and I think it will take like a mega hip hop star to say, okay, baseball is cool, and you guys should check this out, or check my man out, who is the starter for the Chicago Cubs, or whatever the case may be. Just like, okay, the one thing that comes to mind is how Lil Wayne made a remix for the Green Bay Packers called Green and Gold, and he stole it from Black and Yellow to Green and Yellow, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of Black people who didn't even know Green Bay was in Wisconsin became Packer fans. And I think that, you know, it may take a Meek Mill to perform in the 7th inning during a Phillies game, and, you know, and make it cool. Because, I mean, like I said, it's like, you know, the only time you have like, you know, hip hop that's playing in the stadium is like at bat music, which is, you know, 8 to 10 seconds. And if you have a relief pitcher, in which, you know, there's fewer and fewer Black pitchers in the game, that's a whole nother subject. But I mean, I just think you have to find a way. I mean, they've made everything else a part of the game that they wanted to be a part of the game. Analytics, I mean, they've even, you know, with the extra inning rule now, putting somebody on second base, which I think is a really cool thing, and it makes it more exciting. But I mean, I think, you know, they have enough resources and money to figure out a way to make it more appealing to the younger generation.
And we just did a great job of marketing and coming together with our own, what do they call it? What are those groups in TV? Those that they put the commercials in front of?
Yeah, I know.
Critics.
Yeah, you know, those we're one of those
critics.
Groups. Yeah, well, not only critics, but you know, the group of people that sit around who are friends of the executives and watch and say, hey, that's gonna work. We just gave MLB things that will work. And we did it for them free of charge. It gets no better than that. 1984 champion, Rod Allen, thank you for the knowledge and the voice of MLBBro.com. Please leave us one more time with it, Telly, please.
Baseball.
Ah, gotta love it. And remember, I'm Mark Gray. This is Debatable. Don't leave anything hanging out over the plate. We'll take it out. Peace.
MLBBro.com, covering Black and brown major leaguers.